How do we grow our business? How do we make more products? How do we decide what's the best way to grow, to scale, to build more, to sell more, to make more profit, to have a bigger impact? That's exactly the strategy that I'm going to share with you today. Hey, I'm Colin, and I get asked often, how do we go about growing, scaling? We've got this product that's doing really well, and we're at 200,000 a year. We want to get to 1 million. We've got these stable of products that we're doing beautifully with. We're turning over 2 million. We want to get to 5. What does that look like? I've got 0 products and I want to get to 30k a year or 50k a year or 100k a year. How do we do that? So there is a very simple and straightforward approach, a framework that I want to share with you right now. Let's dive in. The framework is called Ansoff's Matrix, and it gives us a way of thinking. It gives a scaffold for us to really develop our business around. Okay, let me explain it to you. So Ansoff's Matrix looks at 4 quadrants. You'll see existing and new products, and then you'll see existing and new markets. And the idea is, if you look at the top left quadrant, that's selling existing products to existing markets. So we are a coach, we have a course that helps e-commerce entrepreneurs to build their website online. That's our course, right? That's our product. So market penetration is asking yourself the question, how can we do more of this? How can we go further? How can we go deeper? So how can we encourage more sales of that same product? So we look at lead generation, you look at traffic strategies, you look at ways of getting that product into the hands of more people. That's market penetration. So you look at share, right? With bigger businesses, they'll look at market share. They'll look at what percentage of that market they own or control because they have the share of it. In the kind of micro solopreneur world, market share, that means nothing. But what is important and what is still relevant, regardless of the size of business, is the approach, the concept, the way of thinking. How can we sell more of what we sell already? Okay? The next part is to look at the people that you serve right now and ask the question, well, what else could we serve these people with? How could we help them to go further, faster, deeper with what we do? So in the example of the e-commerce, getting started with e-commerce, how do we look at the scaling aspects of e-commerce? How do we look at suppliers and logistics of e-commerce? How do we look at the technology of e-commerce? These are all simple examples of how we expand out what we do into new products. So what else could we create? What else could we provide that serves people that little bit further, helps them to go that little bit faster, and helps them to go that little bit deeper into what it is that you do? That's product development. What else can you offer, okay, to the same people? And then once we've kind of exhausted those first 2 areas, they're the first 2 places that you play, by the way. Once you've done that, then you look to the bottom left quadrant and you look to develop new markets. So how can we take this setting up an e-commerce website to a new market? So perhaps the e-commerce component isn't as important as developing and building the website, and we use WooCommerce, which is based on WordPress. So hey, what if we create a product that shows people how to build WordPress websites? Because 80% of that already exists inside of the first product. Can you see that? Can you see how we are just kind of extending out the product so that it becomes appealing to other people? If we sell products to a specific vertical, then it's really easy just to put a different spin, a different angle on the core product, because it delivers a very similar outcome, and make it appealing to a different group, to different markets. So how can we develop our product into new markets? In traditional business, back in business school, back in the day, I would learn about how we would go from Europe and we would attack the European market, and we would grow into the US, and that would be the expansion, development of new markets, the third world, the Far East, all of these different ways of expanding what it is that you do as a business, okay? On the micro level, and which is where I work mostly, it's not about necessarily geographical regions, perhaps. Perhaps you exist in the UK, perhaps you exist in the US, and there is opportunity to expand your business out there. Think about channels. It's the new channels of doing business, not necessarily just markets. So how could you get partners to promote your products? How could you get ambassadors and people to sell? Could you use affiliate programs? Could you create an army of people that sell your product for you in different markets? What could that look like? And listen, there's no hard and fast answer in all of this. I'm just giving you some tips and some advice to prompt those little grey cells, as Poirot would say, right? Just to prompt those little grey cells to get them spinning and get them firing in the right direction. So how could you do that? What could that look like for you? All right. And then the final one is diversification. So we build new products and we take them to new markets. Now, if we were to look at a risk scale, the further you go into that bottom right-hand quadrant, the more risky it is. It's safer to sell more of what you've got and stay in the top left. It's moderately safer to develop new products for the same markets because we've got validation, we've got data, we know there's a demand for those products. It's moderately more risky to develop those products into new markets. The level of risk is increasing at each stage of this. And then when we go into diversification, so, Heinz, the beans company, go to make clothing, that's like complete shift from what they do. That's completely outside of their core competencies, potentially. So the level of risk is much, much higher. What does that mean for you? Well, in terms of how you approach growing your business, you simply work in the order that we've covered them today. How can we sell more of what we've got? How can we sell more? How can we bring that product to more people? How can we encourage repeat business? How can we encourage referrals, social share, relationship building, advocates of our product? How can we do that? What things can we do to encourage that? Then you can look to developing new products for that same group of people. So we've helped you with this, let us also help you with that. Let us take you further, let us take you faster, let us take you deeper in that journey, that transformation that we deliver. Okay, makes sense? And then the third piece is the development into new markets. So we serve this group right now. What if we just take this product and extend it to another geographical region or another pocket of people, another group, another segment of a different market? And then the final and most risky is total diversification. And some would argue that innovation lies at the edge of this. Innovation is where you dare to challenge what we're already doing and do things differently. But it is a fine line because you run the risk of falling flat on your face, right? You run the risk of things failing and it being a flop and a disaster. So stick to the core, develop, build, grow the core, and then play in the ancillary areas with diversification. And they are the best methods, modes, ways of thinking, and approaches to growing any business of any size, whether you are just starting out or you're flying in 7-8 figures in your business right now. Use the Ansoff Matrix, but more importantly, use the mode of thinking. How can we do more with what we've got? J. Abraham, great quote, getting the most out of everything that you've got. There's a wonderful book by Jay just on that very topic. So look at market penetration, then look to development, then look to development of markets after you've developed products, and finally diversification. There's no binary to this, but it is an approach, a mode of thinking, a way of doing that will allow you to massively scale what it is that you do. Peace and best wishes.